this is important that we review these causative factors and understand that when you wake up to a problem, what's your choices that you have in front of you to find remedy? Because this is about remedy and getting remedy. The federal government would like you not to have remedy because you're a financial gold pot if you don't think that way, in every sense of the word. And so it's just it's sad what's going out there, from the land grabbing of the IRS to everything else. And I keep bringing that up, and I'm sorry, but this is out of control again. And these strong arm tactics, this violation of the law is unreal. You know, reminds me of the kings and things of old. But health-wise, I mean, I'm getting calls constantly with young people in very serious trouble with cancer. And I think this is important that you look at everything as a potential cancer. And you have to understand, cancer is not a disease. There's no such thing as diseases. This is how they disempowered the public and gained this narcissistic control of the public. There's no such thing as diseases. It's all chemical processes that goes on in the human body. The human body is about 100 trillion cells, give or take a few trillion, depending on what school you went to. So let's just round it off and say the human body is roughly 100 trillion cells with two major fluids. And these two major fluids control the health of the cells. Outside of that, you've got the janitorial service offered by nature. That's the bacterium community. You obviously have the fermentation family, because we have weak adrenals. We're fermenting sugars like crazy. And someone created the American Dietetics Association. I wonder who that was, and I wonder where they got their ideas of health. It was one thing back in the olden days, and I told you I had health food stores years ago, to think whole grains and to think all this and to work out of that. But then we have to mature out of that. We have to mature out of grains and beans and dead foods that have high phytic acids, that are acidic, that have no health value whatsoever, and particularly the grains, which is just concentrated starch or sugar. You know, we've had serious trouble with this. And so now a lot of people have the fungal family in them a lot, from candida to moles growing on them, you know, to warts, to all types of things, even though they call those virals. So we have all these parasites in us, of course, doing their job. And then we have some bigger boys like worms and flukes and things that have to be cleaned out of the human body, no question. And we have a little water and we have a little chemistry. But ultimately, if you broke it down to what's the bottom line to man's suffering, you have to look at the cells and the two fluids that handle the health of the cells, because those two fluids directly impact the health and well-being of those cells. Even if you said that cell is not giving you enough cortisol, or those cells are not giving you enough stilbestrol, or those cells are not giving you enough neurotransmitters, why not? What's going on in the cell? And then what affected that? What started the decline and the decay of the human cell? You have to go back to the two fluids, and then you have to go back to what you ingested, what you eat, what you drink, what you breathe, and what you put on your skin. That's how you bring the outside world of chemistry in. And everything to a chemist is chemistry. To a physicist, everything is just frequencies of electromagnetic energy, blah, 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 blah. And of course, to a spiritual person, everything is frequencies of intelligence or states of consciousness. And so the spiritual person is seeking consciousness as opposed to isolated states of consciousness. And so we're always looking whole. We're always looking total, to become all that it is, the all of the all. And this is also true in healing. All filters all the way down to pure consciousness of plants, as opposed to going into plants and isolating them. That was the mind that said, you know what, I can go into that plant, I can take that active principle, even though it's an alkaloid, I can go into that active principle and take that out, and I can make this drug work better. And that's what happened. That's what blew the decay of the treatment-based thinking, was the pharmaceuticals. Because take a look at the side effects. And then the FDA was created to protect the public. And I love states and FDAs and things who say they're public protection. They're worried about public protection. And nothing could be further from the truth. And I've stated this before. States are in trouble financially, of course, because this is a welfare country now. But to be honest with you, these states are in line for serious deprivation of right lawsuits, because they've deprived natural healers from practicing their wares, because no matter what state you're in, you still are umbrellaed under the federal Constitution. And that does grant you the right to practice. Anytime you require a license of somebody, that tells them that it's a privilege that they practice their wares. And as I've said before, if you're born in one of the 50 states, not in the federal territories, but if you're born in one of the 50 states, you have rights. And they would love you not to know that, of course, because federal territories, you fall under privileges. Federal people are all under privileged life. Congress, all this there, they have to work under privileges, not the Americans. Those born in one of the 50 states, you're basically a Native American. Basically, you have your rights, and that means you have the right to practice. So when you look at monopolies, you know the government's going after these companies that trying to buy up other companies and monopolize the industry. Take a look at what happened to states and medical people. The Rockefeller medical people lobbied and then gained control of states, and then under the facade of the protection of people and the citizens of the state, allopathic people were set at the top of the line here, and all that was money buying votes and stuff like this, because what you did is you took the top killing modality and set it on the top, and then you put all the curative people down at the bottom, if not tried to get rid of them or jail them. And that just can't go on anymore. And we have a lot of legal people putting together suits and criminal complaints and things. You're going to see some incredible things coming down the line here, because these states and these legislators have stepped over the line here, and it just can't happen anymore. Man's in trouble. We have to fix ourselves. And that's what this video is about. And I apologize for such a focused thought, but for those that are just tuning in, you have to understand that you have to empower yourself to take control of your own health. I'm even saying that in regard to me. I offer my services free for you guys to a point. And it's to a point, because I can only give so much free. I have to eat, and I have to make a living. I have to pay for my staff. We have to be able to give you this information. So there's a point where things have to be paid for. I know you all understand that's just the natural way it is. But at the same time, I'm here to give you this as much as you can. I'm here to empower you to gain control of your own health. And by doing that, you will be more financially sound, you'll be healthier, and you won't come here later and make me cry because how bad they've treated you and how serious you are now. This is the biggest problem we face, is the level of decay people come in here with. And then they want fixed overnight. Suddenly they're awakened that they're in trouble, they're dying, and they want me to fix them overnight. And it's like... It takes a while to regenerate a body that's genetically weak and that the lymph system are toxic as heck because someone convinced you that milk was good for you. I remember C. Everett Koop. I don't know if you all remember C. Everett Koop. He was a great United States Surgeon General. Remember I mentioned this in the other video. When he came out with a statement that made all the headlines, milk may be bad for you, they fired him. He was just telling a truth, but he was telling a truth that was so important to know, because this is why man's lymph systems are as bad as they are. The dairy products, by far, hands down, are the most mucus-forming foods of all foods. There's no denying that. And so when you realize what you have to undo, it's amazing the job that's at hand here. So these videos are to empower you to take your own health in your hands and work it. We'll walk with you. We'll walk with you. We'll give you advice. But you must empower yourself. Don't rely on anybody. Don't know what's going on here. Know what the human body is, basically. You don't have to be an intellectual mind. They don't know. You talk about biochemistry, and you talk about even surgery, you talk about the human body. You'd be surprised what we don't know about the human body. That's our narcissism. We think we know all this stuff. We don't know nothing. The Supreme Being is so in-depth. It was almost like a game to itself of how in-depth can it make all life, because it is so complex that you could never figure it out intellectually. But if you step back simplistically, then you'll get that whole picture, and it's go, oh wow, yeah, that's simple. I can do this, and that's what this is about. Let me please empower you great souls to grab a hold of your own health care and rewind it. Challenge yourself. Dig deeper into the human body. Read books. Surround yourself with the beauty and the intelligence of those that have passed, that have brought you, like Arnold Ehret, the natural hygienic people. All these great souls that worked years in raw foods and fasting and what they found, and use that knowledge to excite you about going on deeper into this world of detoxification and health and vitality, because some of you are going to be a while getting there. Okay, so what? Just forget about that part of it. Make it a daily in the now thing. Live every moment now. This is what you are now. This is how you live. This is how you eat now. And forget about the future. Forget about the body. If you forget about your aches and pains, let that spiritual force flow through you and move this out of you. Because some of you have got some work to do on yourself. So hang in there. Everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be good. Don't take the negative side, because it's easy to do that. When you're hurting and you're in pain, it's easy to take that negative side. It really is. And I understand that. Been there myself in so many ways. And at the same time, I work with thousands, tens of thousands of people that are this way, and we work you out of it. 99% of the time we work you out of it, okay? And that's because our focus isn't diseases and this illusionary concept that medical doctors have created here. There's no one else that's responsible for this, and it's a self-feeding negative machine. So we must break that. Medical doctors, you must break that and come out of it. Waken up and come over here to our side and enjoy the beauty of higher levels of healing. You'll be astonished at the amount of cases that you can walk up, cured. You'll never see your clients again because they cured themselves. They cured themselves. They don't need to be back to say, hello, I love you for doing it. Because they cured themselves. You don't see the same old people asking for the same prescriptions. You don't see these older people roaming the halls of hospitals because you got them addicted on pain meds. Now it's the younger people too. I used to have them come up to me all the time in the hospital. Hey doc, could you write me a prescription? I got a pain in my back. These guys were addicted like crazy. The senior citizens. It's sad. Oh, most people don't have a clue what's going on out there. So it is sad, And we don't need to be that way anymore. It's about the money. What's money? You notice that money don't mean too much now. Your real estate, it don't mean too much right now. Things don't mean too much. And you know why? Because God needs to rip the materialistic consciousness out of the human being and bring it back to the beauty of free and joy and bliss, and how simple things are and how healthy you can get with this. So I want to go on before I run out of time here, but I will tomorrow shoot the question and answers on these videos. But there's a lot of people with cancer out there, and remember, cancer isn't a disease. It's a damaged, mutated cell. How? What does this? How did my cells get damaged? Remember, a pathologist is the only one that can really rightfully tell you have cancer. And what do they need to do that? They need a cell. That's why there's biopsies. You can say, well, this is suspicious of it. There probably is. But there's only one person that can truly accurately tell you, in my opinion, and that's a pathologist. And he says, here, I'm going to stain the cell and let's see. Well, all right, you have damaged cells. All right, what damages cells in your body? Well, there's only two sides to chemistry, and everything's chemistry. And both sides can't damage you, although it can. But predominantly, in keeping it simple, the one side of chemistry is the healing side of chemistry, and the other side is corrosive. Corrosive chemistry is acid chemistry, remember? And acids, ladies do acetates to clean the tones, to take the fingernail polish off your nails. We use acids to strip things. Acids are corrosive in nature. They burn, they hurt. So whenever you're in pain, I don't care if it's in the muscles, and it's fibromyalgia, I don't care where it is in the joints, Arthur. I don't care if it's in the kidneys. or the bladder, cystitis. I don't care where it is. It's still acids that are doing it. Where are you getting these acids at? Well, it's true that the microbes leave acid waste. You know, high fungus leaves uric acid in the body like proteins, so there are acids from that. But remember, every cell is like a human, and like all animals, they all eat and they poop. Animals eat and poop, plants eat and poop, humans eat and poop, everybody eats and poops. And so does the cell. They eat and poop because it's chemical processes. All this is involved in chemical processes. And most chemical byproducts of chemical processes are acids. And so these acids that build up in the body, they have to be dealt with, because the body produces probably several pounds of these acid waste daily, depending on your level of activity. And you have to get rid of these acids, because when you don't, this is when you find acidosis. You could use the medical terminology inflammation, but then you're going to ask, why inflammation? Inflammation is an immune response. To what? Acids, proteins. And yet here on this side, we're pumping proteins here because we want these no pinch inch bodies and things like this. The problem with proteins, if I could just line you up a bunch of people that went down that route, you would cry to look at them, these bodybuilders and these great looking muscular men and these ladies, and now they're in serious decay of the kidneys. Their lymph systems are backed up, extreme rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, and they're just torn apart by the acids that they were eating and producing and damaging the organs that allowed their body to get rid of it by pumping the steroids and losing the adrenal glands. I just talked to the guy over the weekend. The poor soul, pumped the steroids, and he was a major bodybuilder, Mr. Florida, and a state policeman and stuff. And now he has to take shots. I'm trying to say, hey man, you're going to, he's in serious pain constantly. He shot his kidneys. He's losing his joints. Can't go that way. We have to wake up to these antiquated ways of thinking, because the end result is so destructive to tissue that the person suffers. If you knew how much you were going to suffer pumping proteins and taking steroids, you would run away from doing it, because the pain the rest of your life, the replacement of joints and hips and knees, you can count on it. And the loss of kidney function and prostatitis and then all the cancers. It's unreal. And yet it's real simple to understand. It's so simple to understand. Your body's just a bunch of cells. Their functionability is your vitality. Their functionability is your body. Their functionability dictates everything about how you feel and think in the etheric bodies. This function of your cells, of your body, is everything to you as soul, your experience while on this planet, while you're in the astral world, and while you're in the mental world, all simultaneously. The function of the cells of this human body is vital to your experience here, no question about it. And you notice a lot of souls don't want to be here anymore. It's not a happy place anymore. This isn't a happy planet. Man's narcissistic attitudes, his ego, his accentuated intellectualism. We haven't learned how to control that in the maturity of the human consciousness. So the human consciousness is in a rapid decline and decay. In America, we're arguing over this debt limit. I just want to puke. I mean, the answer is simple, but they're fighting like sharks over nothing, and it's just it's sickening, the decay of this intellectual side of life and how it affects the happy place. So, we as individuals have to find our happy places and find the health of your body. And that's why I do these videos for you. So you can find your happy place. You can find the God that you are. You can find the ecstasy and bliss of who you are. And at the same time, get your bodies in shape. And I said bodies in shape, so you can enjoy your adventure here. And you can do that despite this gnarling wave of intellectualism and the decline of that, and the need of the human to understand they need to get control of the mind, not let the mind control. These are the negative forces controlling people. And then you have the reptilian race. I'm waiting for someone to understand what that is, the reptilian race. So remember about the cancers and the diabetes. So it's all about the cell and the health of the cell. But what controls the health of the cell? The same thing that controls the health of a little baby. Same thing. How you feed it, what you feed it, very important. We don't know that. People don't know that. You guys do. You're learning about the raw foods and what other animals do. We're just learning what nature does. That's all we're doing. We're not doing anything bizarre. We're just learning what nature does. We somehow took ourselves away from nature. And then, of course, you're always cleaning your babies. You got to clean these acid wastes from babies' bottoms or they burn. You notice diaper rashes and everything because those wastes are acids. They burn the tissue. Imagine what they do inside of people. So when I use the word interstitial lymphatic constipation, that means that the 3/4 of the fluid that flows around every cell is the lymphatic fluids, is the sewer fluids. These are constipated. And constipation means you're retaining these fluids. You're not cleaning and moving these fluids properly. And these are acid fluids. And they're sitting there hurting a lot of people that are in pain and suffering. And it has far-reaching effects into the psychic of the mind and the emotions because it's the thyroid and adrenals that are affected as well. So we have schizophrenia, bipolar, we have all these emotional and mental states and depressive states that are at hand. So you must think the health of cells because that's the only way you can come out of this. You can't treat your problems anymore. If we learn anything, that allopathic has failed man, has failed it big time. Yes, surgery, yes, fine, great, we need it, obviously. But as a general rule, we must isolate that away from allopathic thinking and get more into the curative zones. We have to. The survival of the human race is vital to that. Not that I give a hoot, because who cares? I mean, if I don't have a body, I'm probably a lot happier off. I've been out of it a lot and a lot happier. So, but it doesn't have to be that way. The human body's the human body. You can have fun, enjoy it if you want, and that sort of thing, okay. But if you want to live now on this planet, you've got to learn the rules. You've got to learn reality, and you have to empower yourself to control your health. And this is vital. So obviously the shift of getting rid of all the food sources and realizing that the human being is a frugivore. And if you want some vegetables, okay. But have a lot of fruit and berries and melons. Berries and fruits are where all the nutrition is if they're raised properly and picked ripe. That's where all your nutrition is. You have to eat a lot of greens to get a lot of nutrition. Because most of the flavonoids and the powers in the fruits and the berries, sorry. I've talked to professors that have 3 doctorate degrees that have studied this for years, and these guys concur that the fruits and the berries is where all the nutrition is, not the grasses and the greens, except maybe for alfalfa. That's a little pretty puppy. I love that one. Kelps, of course, that's another great plant, is the kelp. So, yeah, we can have a diversified diet to a certain extent, but if you're detoxifying, you want fruits, 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 and fruits. So, in understanding fibromyalgia, diabetes, none of these are autoimmune problems. This is an illusionary concept. This is when someone says you have an autoimmune problem, immediately realize they don't have a clue what's causing these problems. Just know that right off. Because if you ask me, I'm going to tell you, how I'm answering on it? I'm going to tell you. If I've never heard of something, then I'll look at the location, because the causative factors are always the same. The decay of the cell, that's just setting us up with a lot of bizarre functions because of the different hormones involved, the different steroids involved, the different neurotransmitters or serotonins involved. But in reality, whether it is diabetes, whether it is schizophrenia, whether it is cancer, the health of the cell is vital to returning yourself back to a state of health. And how do you accomplish the health back to a cell? Can it get its health back? Of course it can get its health back. It can go beyond its genetic memories. How? Obviously, what you eat, drink, and breathe, and what you put on your skin. You must move yourself into a raw food diet, at least 80 or 90% if you're not cancerous or you're not dying. If you're dying, you don't eat anything cooked. And you don't get away from the nuts and the beans and the grains and the crap like that. It's all crap. When you're healthy, you want some nuts, okay. It's easy. I pop handfuls of almonds and raisins, and I love almonds and raisins together, and pecans, and my favorite's pine nuts and coconuts. You can eat tons of that. problem is that you'll start feeling the difference when you do that. But it's easy because we have shellers now. We don't have to shell them each individually. But when you're detoxifying, it's a special time in your life. And you must get away from these things that are overpowering the body with protein chemistry and high acid chemistry. You've got to. You've got to bring that alkaline, flavonoid-rich chemistry into the body, stringent-rich foods that help to clean and pull the human body. So you've got to shift your diet. If you're in trouble, you go fruits and berries and melons all day long, as much as you want. At night, you have a large salad. Put anything in there you want. No creamy, milky dressings. If you really want to get well, that's got to be the diet plan. And then get into botanicals. I don't care whose formula it's, but go after the kidneys, go after the lymph systems, go after your GI tract. You're going after your body like it's a new job that you just took on that you've got to do. And that's the beauty of the botanicals. They can go into the body. They can enhance the function of the cells. They can move that lymph system where the foods don't have that kind of power. And they can do it in a timely manner. So when you slap both of these things together, you really got it. So I'm getting a signal here that my time's up. So, there's so much I wanted to get into here. But remember that. Review these videos. I know there's going to be a lot of them up here, and I really apologize for it. But I'm going to keep rattling them off as long as I can. And so I'll get in your question and answers the next video here. I know Drew wants to take you on a journey through my office and through the clinic and the herb store here and everything. And so do you have an idea who you're talking to when you're looking at these videos and what we are and what we're not? You know, so we're not capitalists. We don't have anything to do with that side of life, and that our whole world has always been helping people. We have so many people come here without money, it's unreal. And so it's a stressor. But I'll get into that in the fructose intolerance, but that's malabsorption, just as a quickie on you. But anyway, thank you, and I will get back with this, and maybe I'll continue rattling on down the line, but I felt like I really needed to do a review video for those that are new here. You need to understand where everything fits, what's going on out there, and then what do you have to do to get well? Well, to understand what you have to do to get well, you have to understand what you're up against. What's going wrong in the human body? What is it? Diseases flying in from Moose Jaw, Alaska, landing on people they don't like? Could it be the virals and the life and the bacteria who've always been here? No. You have to understand nature. It's a little bit of chemistry and a little bit of physics. And the laws of nature. Look at nature. What does nature do? What does nature do with weaknesses? You know, what does nature do with weaknesses? Weak animals. It gets rid of them. We don't learn any of that stuff, you know. And how does nature eat? You know, how does nature take care of itself? And use nature as the largest laboratory we have access to, because by and large it's the only laboratory except for the universe itself. And then of course then you get into ideas, opinions, and belief systems. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day. No more of these reviews like this, but I definitely wanted to kind of set the precedence so we can really, for those that don't understand what's going on, can understand. Because I have so many people call me for the first time. They just learned their body's ravaged with cancer, and they're off to Johns Hopkins or off here or off there, and I'm going, all right, I'll see you here in a few months, and not in a condition I really want to see you in. So you really got to get loaded with knowledge, you guys, and especially you guys that are dealing with cancers and stuff. You've got to knowledge yourself up, because your treatment of what's going on with you really dictates your future here, and you need to see the other side of this. You're told a lot of things when you go into oncologist's office and cancer centers, but you've got to know the truth above what you're told a lot of times. And you've got to know what the reality of things are. So thank you very much. I apologize, but you guys have a great, wonderful day, and I'll continue down this line as soon as I can get back to you. Thank you.